costume vigilantes are least likely to kill you, intentionally or otherwise.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be talking about the theory of the half, I suppose, if that makes any sense, because I'm only really doing like 2 theories a year, and it's around this time where I finally get around to talking about what it is. It's the one that you see every time in the intros. Now, this one is really exciting to me because it's Batman related, and I'm kind of a sucker for Batman media, more so for some of the characters that are as adjacent to Batman, but Batman, of course, is pretty cool too. Now, the thing is that, as you saw in the intro, which of those costume vigilantes are least likely to kill you is interesting, because there's 8 of them that you can technically play as, even though Azrael is basically a clone of Batman in terms of how he operates. So, that's the cast that we're going to be running with. We're going to be running with Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Tim Drake to be specific, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Red Hood, Barbara Gordon's Batgirl, and Azrael. And we're going to be talking about how, based off of their tactics and mannerisms and the gadgets that they have in Arkham Knight specifically, we'll see if they're likely to kill you intentionally or otherwise. Now, first off rip, you're probably thinking, well, I can exclude 2 people from this list. And you're right! I can absolutely eliminate Harley Quinn and Red Hood off of the list. But I'm going to make things a little more interesting first and explain why I'm excluding them off the list right away, especially Red Hood. Harley doesn't give a damn, especially in this universe. She has explosive jack-in-the-boxes, she brings a metal baseball bat with her to every fight, and she has laughing gas grenades, which have been known to kill people. But Red Hood only kills people that are criminals. So, in this scenario, we're supposing that you are fighting these vigilantes for one reason or another, and they decide to try, and they have to take care of you one way or the other. And Red Hood, there's a pretty decent chance that he'll kill you intentionally, and a really high chance he kills you unintentionally, with things like his guns and his grapnel flying kicks and whatnot. There's a good chance Red Hood's going to kill you. So, these guys are basically excluded from the list. And Azrael is mostly excluded, is only excluded because he's a mirror of Batman as well. I'm not going to be discussing Azrael in this video because in the Arkhamverse, he's a more brutal version of Batman. So, the result I will give to Batman is worse for Azrael, because Azrael's more likely to kill someone because of his association with the Order of Saint Dumas. But let's focus on the big 5 for this one. Who of the Arkhamverse folks is least likely to kill you? Of Batman, Catwoman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Robin. Let's take a look, and I think the answer will surprise you.
Slamming somebody into an air conditioner will kill them. First up, we're going to be taking a look at Batman / Azrael, because Azrael is a clone character to Batman, but he only has a few fewer gadgets that are not applicable to Azrael because he doesn't drive a Batmobile and he doesn't have to use the cryptographic sequencer because he's not in the story mode as a playable character. However, Batman is. But another thing we should take note of is Batman's arsenal, which is incredibly expansive in this game, and chock full of dangerous equipment that could absolutely kill you. In this challenge, I'm going to try and demonstrate them all.
Simulation activated.
First up, we need to talk about the Disruptor. This thing disrupts tech of all kinds, including jammers, camouflage, and medical equipment. The voice synthesizer can lead people into traps and is not a danger, but the remote hacking device absolutely is. By hacking and taking control of certain equipment, he can make generators explode, make drones fire on the opponent with an electric shock. These things can potentially kill. And that was another example. The disruptor made the gun box electrocute this poor fellow over here. And then there's the smoke pellet. Anybody who is allergic to smoke or has trouble with smoke is absolutely going to be in trouble. So there's a good chance that given how many people are here, somebody just got shot.
Maybe Batman got him.
Then there's combat. Double concussion. Broken jaw. Broken ribs. Shattered nose. Broken arm. And like I said, Batman can disarm defibrillators too. And defibrillators are known for shocking people. So imagine, if you will, what might happen to somebody who had a defib go off in their hands. And then there's this.
That wall looks unstable. Go take a look. Copy that.
Get in there. There we go. There's this classic takedown. It's been a staple of the Arkham games. Lure somebody to a wall, let it explode in their hands. I'll download these codes in the meantime. How is he not dead? Genuine question. How is he not dead after that? He's been doing this for damn near a decade. How has he not killed somebody with this yet?
Hey, what happened to you?
I'm gonna just blind this drone and move into the next takedown. There we go.
Is he okay? Does he look okay? Batman, right?
Of course it is.
Nothing we can do for him. Spread out. Get revenge.
Again, somebody could have gotten shot there. Somebody absolutely could have gotten shot there, which is a big old problem. Once again,
Damn it! What's wrong with this piece of crap? We need eyes on target now.
freeze the opponent. That's another option. Leave them like that for too long and they'll actually die of hypothermia.
He's gone. Find him.
Take this guy out.
So you learned some new tricks. He's mimicking.
And extreme trauma to the throat. That was just for starters in a Predator challenge. Batman's kit is chock full of things that could potentially kill someone. And remember, we're not even talking about things in the environment. Let's move on to combat for an example. In a combat scenario, the environment can potentially kill you. If we take this to the extreme with Batman, slamming somebody into an air conditioner will kill them. That's a lot of blood. And that's a concussion that could potentially lead to death. Of course, being slammed into a light fixture will also electrocute you. I'm not doing this for my health. I'm just trying to demonstrate the point here. What if you also all of a sudden got clobbered by a 500-pound brute out of left field? Didn't see it coming? Didn't see this coming? You might be unconscious outright. Then there's the doors. Then there's shields. Let's talk shields.
Gonna be nothing left. I'm finished.
Broken neck. Shattered trachea. They're dead. No two ways about it. They are dead. Explosive pellet.
Time to
Freeze them to make them last. And of course, death. Lots and lots of death. Not to mention things like if somebody has their hands on a gun and accidentally shoots somebody or accidentally stabs somebody in the middle of a fight with how much Batman's jumping around. TLDR, fights are a mess. People can die in these fairly easily. But Batman's tactics, ordinarily in the comics, would prevent him from doing anything overly extreme. The Arkham games kind of take their leniencies, particularly Arkham Knight, but Batman, I don't necessarily think would always go for the explosives and the brutal aspects and whatnot. Azrael, however, would. So Azrael is above Harley Quinn and Red Hood, but below Batman. And these form our bottom four. Next, we're going to take a look at who I think might actually be the least lethal of all the characters so far. Catwoman. And why I think she would be the least likely to kill you. She only brings her whip, caltrops, and bolas. And these are all she needs to get the job done. And as a bonus, none of these are necessarily lethal. The worst that could potentially happen is a caltrop landing in the wrong spot, or a whip wrapped around your neck for a little too long and you pass out. The bolus I don't necessarily think will kill anyone, and caltrops may also cause a lethal fall, but falls are always a general issue for anybody that is working these Predator challenges, whether it be Selina or someone else. Plus, no need to worry about anything being accidentally blown up or something. Catwoman, I think, is the least lethal of all characters that you can play as an Arkham Knight, at least based off of the present circumstances. Time to move on to our next character.
Robin is a very interesting case in terms of what he is capable of as a character. Being a batling, as it were, he has similar gadgets but in a limited pool. Zip Kick is similar to the Batclaw, and it can cause problems with broken bones or a misfire hitting somebody in the neck, but generally speaking, the aim is good enough that that is less of a problem. Another tool that can go wrong and kill somebody if it is misused is the bullet shield, but I'm much less worried about Robin misusing it than Batman is when it comes to those damn riot shields. The shuriken is basically just a bird-shaped batarang, nothing really to write home about. But then we have to talk about this, the explosive gel. Every character with the explosive gel has this as a handicap because, well, it's an explosion capable of knocking down a concrete wall. The shards of the concrete wall will kill you, the explosion will blow a piece of you off. It's not something that you can use to stun somebody with like you can in the Arkham games. This stuff is potent and very dangerous indeed. This is something that if you saw on the ground, you run. But uniquely, we have to talk about the Snap Flash for Robin. This is a unique gadget to him, and it is a small, directed explosive he plants on people. It's kind of funny, because this is supposed to be like a concussive explosive that knocks you out, right? But even a small explosive can kill you if directly planted onto your back, right below your neck. And then, of course, there's the remote hacking device, which I'll talk about a little bit with Batgirl. But this thing is also very dangerous in terms of what you can hack. which is what makes it potentially dangerous. Basically, if it can be dangerous, if it explodes, or if it does something, then the remote hacking device is a real danger. So, once Robin has hacked into the drone, it will be his. And these BOA sentry drones, which I'm not entirely sure why the Arkham Knight picked the theme of his bad guys being snakes, but anyway, so we have the BOA drone under our control, and Robin has it under his control, rather. It uses an electric pulse to incapacitate people, but the problem with using an electric weapon is that electricity is dangerous. Tasers are now classified as less lethal than non-lethal weapons. They're no longer classified as non-lethal weapons because people can die from direct exposure to a taser if the electric charge shuts down their heart, or interrupts their breathing, or does any number of things that electricity is capable of absolutely destroying somebody. So Robin right now is ahead of Batman because of this. But worth noting, too, is that his snap flashes, now that they're directly applied, bam, instant knockout, but could potentially have killed that poor guard amongst the others. So Robin is definitely less lethal than Batman, but it's not looking good for the Boy Wonder so far. Time to move on to our next character. The next character we're going to have a look at is Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson. Now, the funny thing about Dick Grayson is that his gadgetry is even smaller than Robin's. He doesn't even have a hacking device. But he also has probably the least lethal kit since Catwoman. Most of his gadgets are somehow electrically connected except for the Batclaw, which, as we've discussed, is basically just a grappling hook. You misfire, you could kill somebody, but accidents aside, it's not a problem. The voice synthesizer is completely non-lethal. At least directly. It's only a misdirector. But if you lead somebody into a potentially lethal hazard, then the voice synthesizer is kind of complicit. But I don't think Nightwing has anything capable of that. His sticks, when thrown, will certainly hurt, and they do pack an electric punch. And as we've mentioned before, electricity is potentially lethal. But because of the fact that electricity can be varied, it could very well be that it's just a shock. And some shocks, and not all shocks, are created equal. You wouldn't say a lightning bolt is as strong as a household outlet. The remote electric charge is back, and is going to get a special mention here, because the REC is basically an electric rifle, and a direct hit by this thing would definitely hurt, and potentially be electrically lethal. But we'll talk about that a little more later. The electrical blast is a kinetic electric AoE attack where Nightwing slams his sticks down and it shocks opponents in a certain area. It's more concussive than electric, but it can knock people off of their feet when the impact occurs. And if that's done near a ledge, you can kind of see where this is going. So you need to be careful when using this ability, otherwise you're in serious trouble. Now with the REC, you can actually activate industrial electromagnets to rip guns out of people's hands, which can be very dangerous if somebody has too tight of a grip onto the weapons themselves. Time to move on to our final character. Something very quick I wanted to note was demonstrating a little more of my work as a proof of concept. Like, why is the voice synthesizer and the remote hacking device so dangerous? And why is the Batman and Azrael unique disruptor so dangerous? Well, with the disruptor, when it's fully upgraded, you can rig a gun to explode in the person's hands whenever they're ready to fire the gun. Now, with a shotgun or an AR, this could be potentially lethal because of the explosive forces involved. But of course, what is really bad is making a small generator explode right in front of somebody's face. The shrapnel and the concussive forces involved would almost certainly kill. And this is why the REC is also so dangerous, because of the fact that it can cause somebody to fire the gun accidentally. And of course, in a fear situation, if a gun explodes and takes them out, it's potentially lethal. Now we can go on to our final character. Our final character that we're going to be talking about in detail is Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. Now, she stands as kind of a unique case because she's technically an anachronism in this game. She was only Batgirl before the events of Arkham Asylum when she was established as Oracle, meaning that her gadgets are going to be a pool based off of things from pre-Arkham Asylum, like the line launcher. This is not a dangerous sort of thing, but from a high enough height, dropping on somebody is going to be dangerous. So I'm going to mark this one as mostly non-lethal. She does have the explosive gel, which, as I have commented on with Robin before, the explosive gel is extremely dangerous. And you'll actually get to see an example of it with a wooden wall, but... oh wait, we also got to see it with a concrete wall. Never mind. But then we have the smoke pellet, which, again, nothing too crazy. The only danger is in a large crowd, you run the risk of somebody getting shot inside of the smoke because they don't know what's going on. Then there's the Batclaw, which I don't need to belabor the point of, and the remote hacking device, which I have shown an example of prior. So, like I said, Batgirl is an anachronism from Arkham Asylum, so her tactics are going to be pre-Arkham Knight. Sort of. So she doesn't have a silent takedown out of vents, for instance, and she does not have a fear takedown mechanic, but she does have a double takedown by smashing heads together, which can cause a double concussion, which is not great. And then there is the loud takedown, which can be a brutal assault, which runs the risk of a major concussion, but probably not lethal, although that really looks like it hurt. One last thing to note, too, is that with Batgirl being with the remote hacking device, you can actually get a hint of what was to come earlier. Here's an example of the danger of the explosive gel, however, because we already covered the remote hacking device. Made out of wood, because Batgirl's able to bust through it, just spraying the explosive gel, and they're taken out. But large enough shards of wood will absolutely kill somebody. And that actually wraps up our overview of everybody. Now we're going to get to my overall reasonings and ratings for every vigilante in Arkham Knight. So, who is the worst? That's definitely Harley Quinn. She'll kill you for making a clown joke. And then right up the totem pole is Red Hood, because while he's a little bit discriminating in who he kills, his methodologies are still lethal. Guns, more brutal approaches to things. If you get in a fight with a Red Hood, you better have caught him on his good side, otherwise he's probably going to kill you. Then we have Azrael in 6th place because he's Batman but less brutal. And Batman, as we know, is chock full of ways to accidentally kill you. His tactics put him ahead of Azrael, but his gadgetry, not even counting the Batmobile, puts him in the bottom 4 at 5th place. Then in 4th we have Robin, because Robin has the explosive gel and multiple ways of taking you out, accidentally lethally, especially with the snap flash. Then the bronze medal winner. You know who our top 3 are, but in what order do they place? The bronze medal actually goes to Barbara Gordon, because while she has the remote hacking device and the explosive gel, she doesn't have any other explosives, and her earlier tactics are less brutal than Batman's or Azrael's or any of the bunch. 2nd place goes to Dick Grayson, who takes home the silver medal, because while he uses electric-based gadgets, I'm not concerned about their current potentially killing somebody unless it's the REC. And the gold medal winner, stealing the victory, is Catwoman. Yes, Catwoman of all characters is the least lethal of all of the characters shown in this list. It just goes to show that sometimes you just need the right tools to get the job done. You don't need all the fancy gadgets. And in fact, you might do better than the guy with the fancy gadgets, because one of those fancy gadgets might just kill someone.
You can't expect me to believe the confidence of